calls for the Chancellor to be sacked as Northern Rock becomes a nationalised bank. 5 months after the crisis started, ministers now decide that public ownership is the best option.
Putting the interests of taxpayers first and the interests of stability, we have come to the right decision.
But the Chancellor is accused of dithering, and the Conservatives say he should lose his job.
He will never recover his reputation for competence. He is now politically a dead man walking.
We'll be asking what nationalisation will mean for the bank and for the taxpayer. Also tonight, on oath, Mohammed Al Fayed insists Diana was murdered and hits back at all the doubters.
I'm not talking to you because you're a bloody idiot, you're part of the establishment and you're a journalist you work for MI6, you idiot. Right?
At least 14 years in jail for the man who plotted to murder a British Muslim soldier. And some early clues about the possible causes of the recent crash at Heathrow.
On BBC London News, the personal files found abandoned in a squat. Haringey launches an investigation. And blocked in by bollards for parking in their own front garden.
Good evening. The Prime Minister and Chancellor have been defending their handling of the Northern Rock crisis, insisting that taking the bank into public ownership is now the best option for the taxpayer. But the Conservatives say the episode has been an economic calamity for Britain and that the Chancellor, Alistair Darling, should be sacked. Our political editor, Nick Robinson, has the latest.
When Gordon Brown dreamt of moving into number 10, he dreamt of becoming Prime Minister and First Lord of the Treasury. Not, you can be sure, First Lord of Northern Rock.
Good morning, welcome back.
The men who've just bought the bank for you and me never actually used the N-word, nationalisation. Deary me, no. But that, of course, was the meaning of this low-key announcement.
Having looked at the options and having had the bids in from the Branson Group and then from the Northern Rock management itself, it became clear that the best interests of taxpayers were served by moving forward with a temporary public ownership solution on the road back to the private sector.
No fanfare, no figures, no fuss then, for men whose faces showed, was it fear of the potential economic and political costs of today's decision?
I think economic competence is about maintaining the stability of the economy, and we are maintaining the stability of the economy. If someone had said 6 months ago that facing the global financial turbulence, we could have contained the problems at Northern Rock, they might have said that that was going to be very difficult. We have contained the problems.
A few hours after this joint appearance came another, this time by the men who want to take over the running of the British economy and who insist that the government shouldn't take over the running of a bank.
An economic calamity has taken place, something the government did not want to happen. The nationalisation of one of our largest retail banks has happened. You know, it's all very well for them to say this is global financial turbulence. It is only in Britain we've had a run on the bank.
In the Commons, it was clear that the Tories' real target, though, is not a policy, but a man.
We can safely say that he will never recover his reputation for competence. He is now politically a dead man walking. And if the Prime Minister could actually make a decision, he would move him.
Ever since the first run on a bank in over a century, the government has faced a series of unappealing options. First, they could have let Northern Rock go bust, something they rejected, fearing that economic instability would follow. Next, they tried to facilitate the bank's sale. Richard Branson's Virgin led the team best placed to buy the rock, but ministers feared that he could make big profits, whilst the taxpayer still faced huge risks. Ministers' last choice, which they shied away from for months, was to nationalise Northern Rock, fearing perhaps association with the failing nationalised industries of the past. One political voice did, however, argue for this pretty much from the start.
It was right to decide that temporary nationalisation is a better option than a bad private sale where the taxpayer would have underwritten the risks and the private buyer would have acquired the profits. I'm tempted to say I could have told you so, but
So tonight the taxpayer looks set not just to own a bank but to sponsor their local team, Newcastle United. We'll all have to hope that new management improves the Rock's performance more than Kevin Keegan has the Magpies. Nick Robinson, BBC News, Westminster.